Welcome to Through the Bible in a Year with Pastor John. We invite you to join us at 1 Oakley Avenue in North Providence, Rhode Island. This podcast is presented to you by The Way Ministries, supported by listeners like you. For donations, live videos, podcasts, and more, please visit www.thewayministriesri.org. Thank you and have a great day.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Through the Bible in a Year with Pastor John. So glad you could join me today to get a portion of God's Word. Today we're going to start a new book, First Chronicles. But before we get started, I just want to say congratulations for reading through the book of 2 Kings with me. You're doing an awesome job so far. Keep up the good work. Like I always say, just keep on keeping on. If you fall behind or miss a couple of days, don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up and don't quit. Just keep moving forward and do the best you can. God's going to honor you for your faithfulness. He's going to bless you along on this journey. So just keep on keeping on. All right, I'm going to introduce First Chronicles, and we're going to get started. First Chronicles, Introduction. The two books of Chronicles are priestly recollections and interpretations of the history of God's people, the nations of Israel and Judah, from the time of David to the Babylonian exile. First Chronicles recounts the righteous reign of King David. Chapters 1 to 9 trace David's ancestry back to Adam, and chapters 10 to 29 focus on the details of David's administration. The book's emphasis is on proper worship of the one true God, a worship David's life consistently exemplifies. Vital statistics. Ezra, according to Jewish tradition, author. Date written around 430 BC, recording events between 1000 and 960 BC. Purpose: to unify God's people, to trace the roots of King David in the 12 tribes, and to teach that genuine worship ought to be the center of individual and national life. Themes: Israel's history as God's chosen people, the accomplishments of King David, true worship, the temple, and the priests. Day 106, April 15th. First Chronicles chapters 1 to 9. David's ancestors. Overview. Chronicles gives a priestly perspective on the history of God's people. The anonymous chronicler, possibly Ezra, carefully weds the nation's history with the sovereign hand of God to show God's purposes at work in the affairs of his people. For generations, God has been preparing a people, the Jews, a king, David, and a kingdom, Judah, through whom he would bless the world. In spite of the nation's unbelief, disobedience, and even displacement from the land, God's plan for them is still at work, a warming comfort for those about to return to rubble-strewn Jerusalem after a 70-year absence. Chapters 1 to 3, genealogy from Adam to exile. Chapters 4 to 8, genealogy of the 12 tribes. Chapter 9, genealogy after the exile, family tree of David and Israel. Insight: the end of the Old Testament. First Chronicles 1:1. First and Second Chronicles were originally one book, the very last book of the Hebrew Bible. That is why Christ in Luke 11:51 spoke of the martyrs from Abel in Genesis 4:8 to Zechariah, 2 Chronicles 24:21. He was speaking of all the martyrs from A to Z, from first to last, in the Hebrew scriptures. Insight: shame on a name. First Chronicles chapter 8, verse 33. Baal is not a proper name, but a title, master. It is used to describe the owner of a house, land, or cattle. During the period of the judges, it was applied by many to the Lord and appeared in many individuals' names. For example, see Judges chapter 7, verse 1. But Baal was also the name of the chief male god of Canaan. Scribes often found the custom of using Baal in personal names so abhorrent that they put the word Bashet, which means shame, in place of Baal. Hence the writer of 2 Samuel substitutes Ishbosheth in place of Eshbaal, 1 Chronicles 8:33. See 2 Samuel 2:8. And Mephibosheth in place of Merib-Baal in 1 Chronicles 8:34. See 2 Samuel chapter 9, verse 6. 1 Chronicles chapter 1. From Adam to Noah's sons. The descendants of Adam were Seth, Enosh, Kenan, Mahalalel, Jared, Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech, and Noah. The sons of Noah were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Descendants of Japheth. The descendants of Japheth were Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The descendants of Gomer were Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The descendants of Javan were Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodanim. Descendants of Ham. The descendants of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The descendants of Cush were Seba, Havilah, Saba, Ramah, and Sabteka. The descendants of Ramah were Sheba and Dedan. Cush was also the ancestor of Nimrod, who was the first heroic warrior on earth. Mizraim was the ancestor of the Ludites, Anamites, Lehabites, Naphtalites, Patricites, Calsluhites, and the Caphtorites, from whom the Philistines came. Canaan's oldest son was Sidon, the ancestor of the Sidonians. Canaan was also the ancestor of the Hittites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgasites, Hivites, Archites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zemarites, and Hamathites. Descendants of Shem. The descendants of Shem were Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The descendants of Aram were Uz, Hul, Getha, and Mash. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah. Shelah was the father of Eber. Eber had two sons, the first named Peleg, which means division, for during his lifetime the people of the world were divided into different language groups. His brother's name was Joktan. Joktan was the ancestor of Almadad, Sheleph, Hazamavat, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimiel, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were descendants of Joktan. So this is the family line descended from Shem, Arphaxad, Shelah, Eber, Peleg, Ru, Serug, Nahor, Terah, and Abram, later known as Abraham. Descendants of Abraham. The sons of Abraham were Isaac and Ishmael. These are their genealogical records. The sons of Ishmael were Nebaioth, the oldest, Kedah, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. These were the sons of Ishmael. The sons of Keturah, Abraham's concubine, were Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. The sons of Jokshan were Sheba and Dedan. The sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abidah, and Eldah. All these were descendants of Abraham through his concubine Keturah. Descendants of Isaac. Abraham was the father of Isaac. The sons of Isaac were Esau and Israel. Descendants of Esau. The sons of Esau were Eliphaz, Ruel, Joash, Jalam, and Korah. The descendants of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, Kenaz, and Amalek, who was born to Timnah. The descendants of Ruel were Nahath, Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. Original peoples of Edom. The descendants of Seir were Lotan, Shobal, Zibeon, Anah, Dishan, Ezer, and Dishan. The descendants of Lotan were Horai and Hemam. Lotan's sister was named Timnah. The descendants of Shobal were Alvan, Manahath, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. The descendants of Zibeon were Ea and Anah. The sons of Anah was Dishan. The descendants of Dishan were Hedman, Eshban, Ithran, and Karan. The descendants of Ezer were Bilhan, Zavan, and Achan. The descendants of Dishan were Uz and Aran. Rulers of Edom. These are the kings who ruled in the land of Edom before any king ruled over the Israelites. Bela, son of Beor, who ruled from his city of Dinhabah. When Bela died, Jobab, son of Zerah, from Basra, became king in his place. When Jobab died, Husham, from the land of the Temanites, became king in his place. When Husham died, Hadad, son of Bedad, became king in his place and ruled from the city of Avith. He was the one who destroyed the Midianite army and the land of Moab. When Hadad died, Samlah, from the city of Masrekah, became king in his place. When Samlah died, Shaul, from the city of Rehoboth on the river, became king in his place. When Shaul died, Baal Hanan, son of Akbor, became king in his place. When Baal Hanan died, Hadad became king in his place and ruled from the city of Pal. His wife was Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred and granddaughter of Me-Zahab. Then Hadad died. The clan leaders of Edom were Timnah, Alva, Jethath, Oholmabah, Elah, Penon, Kenaz, Teman, Mibsah, Magdiel, and Aram. These are the clan leaders of Edom. 2 Chronicles chapter 2. Descendants of Israel. The sons of Israel were Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, descendants of Judah. Judah had 3 sons from Bathshua, a Canaanite woman. Their names were Onan, and Shelah. But the Lord saw that the oldest son was a wicked man, so he killed him. Later, Judah had twin sons from Tamar, his widowed daughter-in-law. Their names were Perez and Zerah. So Judah had 5 sons in all. The sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Zerah were Zimri, Ethan, Heman, Calcol, and Darda, 5 in all. The son of Carmi, a descendant of Zimri, was Achan, who brought disaster on Israel by taking plunder that had been set apart for the Lord. The son of Ethan was Azariah. From Judah's grandson Hezron to David. The sons of Hezron were Jehorameel, Ram, and Caleb. Ram was the father of Aminadab. Aminadab was the father of Nahshon, a leader of Judah. Nahshon was the father of Salmon. Salmon was the father of Boaz. Boaz was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jesse. Jesse's first son was Eliab. His second was Abinadab. His third was Shimeah. His fourth was Nathaniel. His fifth was Radai. His sixth was Ozem. And his seventh was David. Their sisters' names were Zeruiah and Abigail. Zeruiah had 3 sons named Abishai, Joab, and Asahel. Abigail married a man named Jetha, an Ishmaelite, and they had a son named Amasa. Other descendants of Hezron. Hezron's son Caleb had sons from his wife Azubah and from Jerioth. Her sons were named Jesher, Shobab, and Ardon. After Azubah died, Caleb married Ephrathah, and they had a son named Hur. Hur was the father of Uri. Uri was the father of Bezalel. When Hezron was 60 years old, he married Gilead's sister, the daughter of Machir. They had a son named Segub. Segub was the father of Jair, who ruled 23 towns in the land of Gilead. But Geshur and Aram captured the towns of Jair and also took Kenath and its 60 surrounding villages. All these were descendants of Machir, the father of Gilead. Soon after Hezron died in the town of Caleb, Ephrathah, his wife Abijah gave birth to a son named Ashur, the father of Tekoa. Descendants of Hezron's son Jerahmeel. The son of Jerahmeel, the oldest son of Hezron, were Ram, the firstborn, Bunah, Oren, Ozem, and Ahijah. Jerahmeel had a second wife named Atara. She was the mother of Onam. The sons of Ram, the oldest son of Jerahmeel, were Maz, Jamin, and Eker. The sons of Onam were Shammai and Jadah. The sons of Shammai were Nadab and Abishur. The sons of Abishur and his wife Abihail were Ahabban and Molid. The sons of Nadab were Seled and Appiam. Seled died without children, but Appiam had a son named Ishai. The son of Ishai was Sheshan. Sheshan had a descendant named Ahalai. The son of Jadah, Shemaiah's brother, were Jetha and Jonathan. Jetha died without children, but Jonathan had 2 sons named Pelet and Zaza. These were the descendants of Jerahmeel. Sheshan had no sons, though he did have daughters. He also had an Egyptian servant named Jarah. Sheshan gave one of his daughters to be the wife of Jarha, and they had a son named Attai. Attai was the father of Nathan. Nathan was the father of Zabad. Zabad was the father of Ephlal. Ephlal was the father of Obed. Obed was the father of Jehu. Jehu was the father of Azariah. Azariah was the father of Helez. Helez was the father of Elisha. Elisha was the father of Shishmai. Shishmai was the father of Shalom. Shalom was the father of Jechemiah. Jechemiah was the father of Elishama. Descendants of Hezron's son Caleb. The descendants of Caleb, the brother of Jerahmeel, included Mesha, the firstborn, who became the father of Ziph. Caleb's descendants also included the sons of Maresha, the father of Hebron. The sons of Hebron were Korah, Tapua, Recham, and Shema. Shema was the father of Raham. Raham was the father of Joachim. Recham was the father of Shammai. The son of Shammai was Moan. Moan was the father of Beth-zur. Caleb's concubine Ephah gave birth to Haran, Mozah, and Gazez. Haran was the father of Gazez. The sons of Jehadai were Regem, Jotham, Gishon, Pele, Ephah, and Shepha. Another of Caleb's concubines, Maacah, gave birth to Sheba and Tirhana. She also gave birth to Shaph, the father of Madhana, and Shiva, the father of Mikbenah, and Gibeah. Caleb also had a daughter named Akash. These were the descendants of Caleb. Descendants of Caleb's son Hur. The sons of Hur, the oldest sons of Caleb's wife, Ephrathah, were Shobal, the founder of Kiriath Jearim, Salma, the founder of Bethlehem, and Haraph, the founder of Beth Gader. The descendants of Shobal, the founder of Kiriath Jearim, were Haroah, half the Mahanathites, in the families of Kiriath Jearim, the Itrites, Puthites, and Shumathites, and Mishrites, from whom came the people of Zorah and Eshtaol. The descendants of Salma were the people of Bethlehem, the Netophathites, Arath Bet Joab, the other half of the Mahathanites, the Zorites, and the families of scribes living at Jabez, the Tirathites, Shimathites, and Succothites. All these were Kenites who descended from Hamath, the father of the family of Rechab. 1 Chronicles chapter 3. Descendants of David. These are the sons of David who were born in Hebron. The oldest was Amnon, whose mother was Ahinoam from Jezreel. The second was Daniel, whose mother was Abigail from Carmel. The third was Absalom, whose mother was Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. The fourth was Adonijah, whose mother was Haggith. The fifth was Shephatiah, whose mother was Abital. The sixth was Etriam, whose mother was Eglah, David's wife. These 6 sons were born to David in Hebron, where he reigned 7.5 years. Then David reigned another 33 years in Jerusalem. The sons born to David in Jerusalem included Shammua, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon. Their mother was Bathsheba, the daughter of Amiel. David also had 9 other sons: Ibhar, Elishua, Elpeleh, Nogah, Nepheg, Zaphia, Elishama, Eliada, and Elphalet. These were the sons of David, not included his sons born to his concubines. Their sister was named Tamar. Descendants of Solomon. The descendants of Solomon were Rehoboam, Abijah, Asa, Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, Ahaziah, Joash, Amaziah, Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, Manasseh, Amon, and Josiah. The sons of Josiah were Johanan, the oldest, Jehoiakim, the second, Zedekiah, the third, and Jehoaz, the fourth. The successors of Jehoiakim were his son Jehoiachin and his brother Zedekiah. Descendants of Jehoiachin. The sons of Jehoiachin, who was taken prisoner by the Babylonians, were Shealtiel, Malchiram, Pedaiah, Shenazah, Jechemiah, Hoshama, and Nedabiah. The sons of Pedaiah were Zerubbabel and Shimei. The sons of Zerubbabel were Meshullam and Hananiah. Their sister was Shalomith. His 5 other sons were Hashubah, Ohel, Berechiah, Hazadiah, and Jushab Hesed. The sons of Hananiah were Pelatiah and Jesiah. Jesiah's son was Rephaiah. Rephaiah's son was Anan. Anan's son was Obadiah. Obadiah's son was Shechaniah. The descendants of Shechaniah were Shemaiah and his sons Hattush, Egal, Bariah, Neriah, and Shaphat, 6 in all. The sons of Neriah were Elionai, Hizkiah, and Azrikam, 3 in all. The sons of Elohini were Hodaviah, Eliashib, Peliah, Akub, Johanan, Delilah, and Anani, 7 in all. 1 Chronicles chapter 4. Other descendants of Judah. The descendants of Judah were Perez, Hezron, Carmi, Hur, and Shobal. Shobal's son, Reiah, was the father of Jahath. Jahath was the father of Ahumai and Lahad. These were the families of the Zorathites. The descendants of Etam were Jezreel, Ishma, Idbash, their sister Hazelphone, Penuel, the father of Gedor, and Ezer, the father of Hushath. These were the descendants of Hur, the firstborn of Epaphatha, the ancestor of Bethlehem. Ashur, the father of Tekoa, had two wives named Helah and Nerah. Nerah gave birth to Ahuzam, Hepher, and Temeni, and Hehashtari. Helah gave birth to Zereth, Isha, Ethanan, and Kaz, who became the ancestor of Anab, Zobabiah, and all the families of Ahahel, son of Haram. There was a man named Jabez who was more honorable than any of his brothers. His mother named him Jabez because his birth had been so painful. He was the one who prayed to the God of Israel, "Oh, that you would bless me and expand my territory. Please be with me in all that I do, and keep me from all trouble and pain." And God granted him his request. Caleb, the brother of Shuha, was the father of Meher. Meher was the father of Eshton. Eshton was the father of Beth Rapha, Paziah, and Tahana. Tahana was the father of Nahash. These were the descendants of Rekah. The sons of Kenaz were Othniel and Sariah. Othniel's sons were Hathrath and Meonothai. Meonothai was the father of Ophrah. Sariah was the father of Joab, the founder of the Valley of Craftsmen, so called because they were craftsmen. The sons of Caleb, son of Jephunneh, were Aru, Elah, and Nam. The son of Elah was Kenaz. The sons of Jehalel were Ziph, Ziphah, Tiria, and Azarel. The sons of Ezra were Jetha, Mered, Epher, and Jalon. One of Mered's wives became the mother of Miriam, Shemai, and Ishbah, the father of Eshtioma. He married a woman from Judah who became the mother of Jared, the father of Gedor, Hebor, the father of Soko, and Jekuthiel, the father of Zenoah. Mered also married Bithia, a daughter of Pharaoh, and she bore him children. Hodiah's wife was the sister of Naham. One of her sons was the father of Keilah, the Garmite, and another was the father of Eshtemoa, the Machathite. The sons of Shimron were Amnon, Rena, Ben-Hanan, and Telon. The descendants of Ishai were Zohet and Ben-Zohet. Descendants of Judah's son Shelah. Shelah was one of Judah's sons. The descendants of Shelah were the father of Leka, Ladah, the father of Mareshah, the families of linen workers at Beersheba, Jocham, the men of Kozeba, and Joash, and Saraph, who ruled over Moab, and Jeshubi led them. These names all came from ancient records. They were the pottery makers who lived in Netane and Gedera. They lived there and worked for the king. Descendants of Simeon. The sons of Simeon were Jemuel, Jamin, Zareb, Zohar, and Shaul. The descendants of Shaul were Shalom, Mibsam, and Mishma. The descendants of Mishma were Hemuel, Zakur, and Shimi. Shimi had 16 sons and 6 daughters, but none of his brothers had large families, so Simeon's tribe never grew as large as the tribe of Judah. They lived in Beersheba, Moladah, Hazar Shual, Bilhah, Ezem, Tolad, Bethuel, Hormah, Ziklag, Beth Makabath, Hazar Susam, Beth Barai, and Shariam. These towns were under their control until the time of King David. Their descendants also lived in Etam, Ain, Rimmon, Token, and Ashan, 5 towns and their surrounding villages as far away as Baalat. This was their territory, and these names are listed in their genealogical records. Other descendants of Simeon included Meshobab, Jamlech, Joshua, son of Amaziah, Joel, Jehu, son of Jashabiah, son of Seraiah, son of Azael, Eloinani, Jacobath, Jehoasiah, Azariah, Adiel, Jezimiel, Benaniah, and Ziza, son of Shephi, son of Alon, son of Zedadiah, son of Shimri, son of Shemaiah. These were the names of some of the leaders of Simeon's wealthy clans. Their families grew and they traveled to the region of Gerar in the east part of the valley, seeking pasture land for their flocks. They found lush pastures there, and the land was spacious, quiet, and peaceful. Some of Ham's descendants had been living in that region, but during the reign of King Hezekiah of Judah, these leaders of Simeon invaded the region and completely destroyed the homes of the descendants of Ham and of the Meunites. No trace of them remains today. They killed everyone who lived there and took the land for themselves because they wanted its good pasture land for their flocks. 500 of these invaders from the tribe of Simeon went to Mount Seir, led by Pelatiah, Neri, Rephaiah, and Uzziel, all sons of Ishai. They destroyed the few Amalekites who had survived, and they lived there ever since. 1 Chronicles chapter 5. Descendants of Reuben. The oldest son of Israel was Reuben. But since he dishonored his father by sleeping with one of his father's concubines, his birthright was given to the sons of his brother Joseph. For this reason, Reuben is not listed in the genealogical records as the firstborn son. The descendants of Judah became the most powerful tribe and provided a ruler for the nation, but the birthright belonged to Joseph. The sons of Reuben, the oldest son of Israel, were Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. The descendants of Joel were Shemaiah, Gog, Shimei, Micah, Reiah, Baal, and Bera. Bera was the leader of the Reubenites when they were taken into captivity by King Tiglath-Pileser of Assyria. Bera's relatives are listed in the genealogical records by their clans. Jeiel, the leader of Zechariah, and Bela, son of Azaz, son of Shema, son of Joel. The Reubenites lived in the area that stretches from Arah to Nebo and Baal Meon. And since they had so many livestock in the land of Gilead, they spread east toward the edge of the desert that stretches to the Euphrates River. During the reign of Saul, the Reubenites defeated the Hagrites in battle. Then they moved into the Hagrite settlements all along the eastern edge of Gilead. Descendants of Gad. Next to the Reubenites, the descendants of Gad lived in the land of Bashan as far east as Selekah. Joel was the leader of the land of Bashan, and Shepham was second in command, followed by Jenai and Shaphat. Their relatives, the leaders of 7 other clans, were Michael, Meshullam, Sheba, Jerai, Jachin, Zia, and Eber. These were all descendants of Abihail, son of Hurai, son of Jeroah, son of Gilead, son of Michael, son of Jeshiah, son of Jeho, son of Buz. Ahai, son of Abdiel, son of Gunai, was leader of their clans. The Gadites lived in the land of Gilead in Bashan and its villages and throughout all the pasture lands of Sharon. All these were listed in the genealogical records during the days of King Jotham of Judah and King Jeroboam of Israel. The tribes east of the Jordan. There were 44,760 capable warriors in the armies of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. They were all skilled in combat and armed with shields, swords, and bows. They waged war against the Hagrites, the Jeterites, the Naphishites, and the Nodabites. They cried out to God during the battle, and he answered their prayer because they trusted in him. So the Hagrites and all their allies were defeated. The plunder taken from the Hagrites included 50,000 camels, 250,000 sheep and goats, 2,000 donkeys, and 100,000 captives. Many of the Hagrites were killed in the battle because God was fighting against them. The people of Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh lived in their land until they were taken into exile. The half-tribe of Manasseh was very large and spread through the land from Bashan to Bel Hermon, Senir, and Mount Hermon. These were the leaders of their clans: Epher, Ishai, Eliel, Azriel, Jeremiah, Hodaviah, and Jehaldiel. These men had a great reputation as mighty warriors and leaders of their clans. But these tribes were unfaithful to the God of their ancestors. They worshipped the gods of the nations that God had destroyed. So the God of Israel caused King Pul of Assyria, also known as Tiglath-Pileser, to invade the land and take away the people of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh as captives. The Assyrians exiled them to Halah, Habor, Harah, and the Gozan River, where they remain to this day. 1 Chronicles chapter 6. The priestly line. The sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The descendants of Kohath included Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The children of Amram were Aaron, Moses, and Miriam. The sons of Aaron were Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. Eleazar was the father of Phinehas. Phinehas was the father of Abishua. Abishua was the father of Bukai. Bukai was the father of Uzai. Uzai was the father of Zerahiah. Zerahiah was the father of Meraiot. Meraiot was the father of Amariah. Amariah was the father of Ahitub. Ahitub was the father of Zadok. Zadok was the father of Ahimaaz. Ahimaaz was the father of Azariah. Azariah was the father of Johanan. Johanan was the father of Azariah, the high priest at the temple built by Solomon in Jerusalem. Azariah was the father of Amariah. Amariah was the father of Ahitub. Ahitub was the father of Zadok. Zadok was the father of Shallum. Shallum was the father of Hilkiah. Hilkiah was the father of Azariah. Azariah was the father of Seraiah. Seraiah was the father of Jehozadak, who went into exile when the Lord sent the people of Judah and Jerusalem into captivity under Nebuchadnezzar. The Levite clans. The sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The descendants of Gershon included Libni and Shimei. The descendants of Kohath included Aram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The descendants of Merari included Mahali and Mushai. The following were the Levite clans listed according to their ancestral descent. The descendants of Gershon included Libni, Jahath, Zimmah, Joah, Iddo, Zerah, and Jethri. The descendants of Kohath included Aminadab, Korah, Asur, Elkanah, Abasaph, Asur, Tahat, Ariel, Uzziah, and Shaul. The descendants of Elkanah included Amasai, Ahimoth, Elkanah, Zophai, Nahath, Eliab, Jeraham, Elkanah, and Samuel. The sons of Samuel were Joel the older and Abijah the second. The descendants of Merari included Mahalai, Libni, Shimei, Uzzah, Shimea, Haggai, and Asaiah. The temple musicians. David assigned the following men to lead the music at the house of the Lord after the ark was placed there. They ministered with music at the tabernacle until Solomon built the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem. They carried out their work following all the regulations handed down to them. These are the men who served along with their sons. Heman, the musician, was from the clan of Kohath. His genealogy was traced back through Joel, Samuel, Elkanah, Jehoham, Eliel, Toah, Zuph, Elkanah, Mahath, Amaziah, Elkanah, Joel, Azariah, Zephaniah, Tahat, Asur, Abiasaph, Korah, Izhar, Kohath, Levi, and Israel. Heman's first assistant was Asaph from the clan of Gershon. Asaph's genealogy was traced back through Berechiah, Shimei, Michael, Besaiah, Malchijah, Ethni, Zerah, Adahiah, Ethan, Zimmah, Shimei, Jahath, Gershon, and Levi. Heman's second assistant was Ethan from the clan of Merari. Ethan's genealogy was traced back through Kishai, Abdi, Malach, Hashabiah, Amaziah, Hilkiah, Amzai, Bani, Shema, Mahalai, Mushi, Merari, and Levi. Their fellow Levites were appointed to various other tasks in the tabernacle, the house of God. Aaron's descendants. Only Aaron and his descendants served as priests. They presented the offerings on the altar of burnt offering and the altar of incense, and they performed all the other duties related to the most holy place. They made atonement for Israel by doing everything that Moses, the servant of God, had commanded them. The descendants of Aaron were Eleazar, Phinehas, Abishua, Bukai, Uzai, Zerahiah, Meraiah, Amariah, Ahitub, Zadok, and Ahimaaz. Territory for the Levites. This is a record of the towns and territory assigned by means of sacred lots to the descendants of Aaron, who were from the clan of Kohath. This territory included Hebron and its surrounding pasturelands in Judah, but the fields and outlying areas belonging to the city were given to Caleb, son of Jephunneh. So the descendants of Aaron were given the following towns, each with its pasturelands: Hebron, a city of refuge; Libnah, Jatir, Eshtemoa, Holon, Debir, Ain, Juttah, and Bethshemesh. And from the territory of Benjamin they were given Gibeon, Geba, Alamet, and Anathoth, each with its pasturelands. So 13 towns were given to the descendants of Aaron. The remaining descendants of Kohath received 10 towns from the territory of the half-tribe of Manasseh by means of sacred lots. The descendants of Gershon received by sacred lots 13 towns from the territories of Issachar, Asher, Naphtali, and from the Bashan area of Manasseh east of the Jordan. The descendants of Merari received by sacred lots 12 towns from the territories of Reuben, Gad, and Zebulun. So the people of Israel assigned all these towns and pasturelands to the Levites. The towns in the territories of Judah, Simeon, and Benjamin mentioned above were assigned to them by means of sacred lots. The descendants of Kohath were given the following towns from the territory of Ephraim, each with its pasturelands: Shechem, a city of refuge in the hill country of Ephraim; Gezer, Jokneam, Beth Horon, Aijalon, and Gath Ramon. The remaining descendants of Kohath were assigned the towns of Adner and Belim from the territory of the half-tribe of Manasseh, each with its pasturelands. The descendants of Gershon received the towns of Golan and Bashan. and Ashtaroth from the territory of the half-tribe of Manasseh, each with its pasture lands. From the territory of Issachar, they were given Kadesh, Dabaroth, Ramoth, and Anem, each with its pasture lands. From the territory of Asher, they received Mashal, Abdon, Hukok, and Rehob, each with its pasture lands. From the territory of Naphtali, they were given Kadesh in Galilee, Hamam, and Kiriathaim, each with its pasture lands. The remaining descendants of Merari received the towns of Jokneam, Karath, Rimmon, and Tabah from the territory of Zebulun, each with its pasture lands. From the territory of Reuben, east of the Jordan River, opposite Jericho, they received Bezer, a desert town, Jahaz, Kedemoth, and Mephatah, each with its pasture lands. And from the territory of Gad, they received Ramoth in Gilead, Mahanaim, Heshbon, and Jazer, each with its pasture lands. 1 Chronicles chapter 7. Descendants of Issachar. The four sons of Issachar were Tola, Puah, Jashub, and Simron. The sons of Tola were Uzai, Rephaiah, Jeriel, Jamni, Isham, and Shemua. Each of them was the leader of an ancestral clan. At the time of King David, the total number of mighty warriors listed in the records of these clans was 22,600. The son of Uzai was Izrahiah. The sons of Izrahiah were Michael, Obadiah, Joel, and Ishiah. These five became the leaders of the clans. All of them had many wives and many sons. So the total number of men available for military service among their descendants was 36,000. The total number of mighty warriors from all the clans of the tribe of Issachar was 87,000. All of them were listed in the genealogical records. Descendants of Benjamin. 3 of Benjamin's sons were Bela, Becher, and Jediel. The 5 sons of Bela were Esbon, Uzai, Azael, Jeremoth, and Eri. Each of them was the leader of an ancestral clan. The total number of mighty warriors from these clans was 22,034 as listed in their genealogical records. The sons of Becher were Zemerah, Joash, Eleazar, Elionai, Omri, Jeremoth, Abijah, Anathoth, and Elameth. Each of them was the leader of an ancestral clan. The total number of mighty warriors and leaders from these clans was 20,200, as listed in their genealogical records. The son of Jediel was Bilhan. The sons of Bilhan were Jewesh, Benjamin, Ehud, Kenan, Zetan, Tarshish, and Ashabah. Each of them was the leader of an ancestral clan. From these clans, the total number of mighty warriors ready for war was 17,200. The sons of were Shuppim and Hupim. Hushem was the son of Aher. Descendants of Naphtali. The sons of Naphtali were Jehaziel, Gunai, Jezer, and Shillam. They were all descendants of Jacob's concubine Bilhah. Descendants of Manasseh. The descendants of Manasseh through his Aramean concubine included Azrael. She also bore Machir, the father of Gilead. Machir found wives for Hupim and Shupim. Machir had a sister named Maacah. One of his descendants was Zelophehad, who had only daughters. Machir's wife, Maacah, gave birth to a son she named Peresh. His brother's name was Sheresh. The sons of Peresh were Ulam and Recham. The son of Ulam was Badan. All these were considered Gileadites, descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh. Machir's sister, Hemoleket, gave birth to Ishhad, Abiezer, and Mehelah. The sons of Shemida were Ahian, Shechem, Likhi, and Eniam. Descendants of Ephraim. The descendants of Ephraim were Shuthelah, Bered, Tahath, Eladah, Tahath, Zabdad, Shuthelah, Ezer, and Eliad. These two were killed trying to steal livestock from the local farmers near Gath. Their father Ephraim mourned for them a long time, and his relatives came to comfort him. Afterward, Ephraim slept with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. Ephraim named him Beriah because of the tragedy his family had suffered. He had a daughter named Sherah. She built the towns of Lower and Upper Beth Haran and Uzan Sherah. The descendants of Ephraim included Repha, Reshpha, Telah, Tahan, Ladan, Ammihud, Elishama, Nun, and Joshua. The descendants of Ephraim lived in the territory that included Bethel and its surrounding towns to the south, Naaran to the east, Giza and its villages to the west, and Shechem and its surrounding villages to the north, as far as Ayah and its towns. Along the border of Manasseh were the towns of Beth Shan, Tanakh, Megiddo, Dor, and their surrounding villages. The descendants of Joseph, son of Israel, lived in these towns. Descendants of Asher. The sons of Asher were Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, and Beriah. They had a sister named Sarah. The sons of Beriah were Heber and Malchiel, the father of Berzaiah. The sons of Heber were Jephlet, Shomer, and Hatham. They had a sister named Shua. The sons of Jephlet were Pesach, Bimhal, and Ashvath. The sons of Shomer were Ahai, Roga, Hubah, and Aram. The sons of his brother Helam were Zophah, Imnah, Shelesh, and Amal. The sons of Zophah were Suah, Haphanah, Shuel, Berai, Imrah, Bezer, Had, Shammah, Shilshah, Itran, and Bera. The sons of Jether were Jephunneh, Pishpa, and Arah. The sons of Ulah were Arah, Haniel, and Rizia. Each of these descendants of Asher was the head of an ancestral clan. They were all select men, mighty warriors, and outstanding leaders. The total number of men available for military service was 26,000 as listed in their genealogical records. 1 Chronicles chapter 8. Descendants of Benjamin. Benjamin's first son was Bela, the second was Ashbel, the third was Ahara, the fourth was Nohah, and the fifth was Rapha. The sons of Bela were Adah, Garah, Abihud, Abishua, Naaman, Ahoah, Gera, Shephupham, and Huram. The sons of Ehud, leaders of the clans living at Geba, were exiled to Manahath. Ehud's sons were Naaman, Ahijah, and Gera. Gera, who led them into exile, was the father of Uzzah and Ahihud. After Sharaham divorced his wives Husham and Bara, he had children in the land of Moab. His wife Hodesh gave birth to Jobab, Zibiah, Mesha, Malcolm, Zuez, Sakiah, and Mirma. These sons all became the leaders of clans. Shaharaim's wife Husham had already given birth to Abitub and Elpael. The sons of Elpael were Eber, Misham, Shemed, who built the towns of Ono and Lod and their nearby villages, Bariah and Shema. They were the leaders of the clans living in Ahijalan, and they drove out the inhabitants of Gath. Ahiho, Shashak, Jeremoth, Zebediah, Arad, Eder, Michael, Ishpa, and Joha were sons of Bariah. Zebediah, Meshullam, Hezeki, Heba, Ishmerai, Azaliah, and Jobab were the sons of Elpaal, Jacob, Zichri, Zabdi, Elani, Zilathai, Eliel, Adiah, Bariah, and Shimrath were the sons of Shimei. Ishpan, Eber, Eliel, Abdon, Zichri, Hanan, Hananiah, Elam, Antijoshia, Iftia, and Penuel were the sons of Shashak. Shemshariah, Athaliah, Jarashiah, Elijah, and Zichri were the sons of Jeromam. These were the leaders of the ancestral clans. They were listed in their genealogical records, and they all lived in Jerusalem. The family of Saul. Jael, father of Gibeon, lived in the town of Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah, and his oldest son was named Abdon. Jael's other sons were Zur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Milcloth, who was the father of Shishim. All these families lived near each other in Jerusalem. Ner was the father of Kish. Kish was the father of Saul. Saul was the father of Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. Jonathan was the father of Merib-Baal. Merib-Baal was the father of Micah. Micah was the father of Pithon, Melech, Teriah, and Ahaz. Ahaz was the father of Judah. Judah was the father of Elamet, Asmaphet, and Zimri. Zimri was the father of Moza. Moza was the father of Biniah. Biniah was the father of Rephaiah. Rephaiah was the father of Elesh. Elesh was the father of Azel. Azel had 6 sons: Azrikam, Bacharu, Ishmael, Sheriah, Obadiah, and Hanan. These were the sons of Azel. Azel's brother Eshek had 3 sons. The first was Ulam, the second was Joash, and the third was Eliphet. Ulam's sons were all mighty warriors and expert archers. They had many sons and grandsons, 150 in all. All these were descendants of Benjamin. 1 Chronicles chapter 9. So all Israel was listed in the genealogical records of the book of Kings of Israel. The returning exiles. The people of Judah were exiled to Babylon because they were unfaithful to the Lord. The first of the exiles to return to their property and the former towns were priests, Levites, temple servants, and other Israelites. Some of the people from the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh came and settled in Jerusalem. One family that returned was that of Uthai, son of Aminahud, son of Amri, son of Imri, son of Bani, a descendant of Perez, son of Judah. Others returned from the Shulamite clan, including Azariah, the oldest, and his sons. From the Zerahite clan, Zuel returned with his relatives. In all, 690 families from the tribe of Judah returned. From the tribe of Benjamin came Salu, son of Meshullam, son of Hodaviah, son of Hashanuah, Ibneiah, son of Jehoram, Elah, son of Uzai, son of Mikrai, and Meshullam, son of Shephatiah, son of Reuel, son of Ibnijah. These men were all leaders of clans, and they were listed in their genealogical records. In all, 956 families from the tribe of Benjamin returned. The returning priests. Among the priests who returned were Jedaiah, Zohariab, Jachin, Azariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Meshullam, son of Zadok, son of Merioth, son of Ahitub. Azariah was the chief officer of the house of God. Other returning priests were Adahiah, son of Jehoram, son of Pashur, son of Malchijah, and Mahas, son of Adiel, son of Jezerah, and son of Meshullam, son of Meshillemith, son of Emer. In all, 1,760 priests returned. They were heads of clans and very able men. They were responsible for ministering at the house of God. The returning Levites. The Levites who returned were Shemaiah, son of Hashab, son of Azrikam, son of Hashabiah, a descendant of Meriah, Bakabaka, Haresh, Galal, Mattaniah, son of Micah, son of Zichri, son of Asaph, Obadiah, son of Shemaiah, son of Galal, son of Jetham, and Berechiah, son of Asa, son of Elkanah, who lived in the area of Netophah. The gatekeepers who returned were Shalom, Akab, Talmon, Ahimam, and their relatives. Shalom was the chief gatekeeper prior to this time. They were responsible for the king's gate on the east side. These men served as gatekeepers for the camps of the Levites. Shalom was the son of Kor, a descendant of Abiasaph from the clan of Korah, and his relatives, the Korahites, were responsible for guarding the entrance to the sanctuary, just as their ancestors had guarded the tabernacle and the camp of the Lord. Phinehas, son of Eleazar, had been in charge of the gatekeepers in earlier times, and the Lord had been with him. And later, Zechariah, son of Meshelemiah, was responsible for guarding the entrance to the tabernacle. In all, there were 212 gatekeepers in those days, and they were listed according to genealogies in their villages. David and Shmuel, the seer, had appointed their ancestors because they were reliable men. These gatekeepers and their descendants, by their divisions, were responsible for guarding the entrance to the house of the Lord when that house was a tent. The gatekeepers were stationed on all four sides, east, west, north, and south. Their relatives in the villages came regularly to share their duties for 7-day periods. The four chief gatekeepers, all Levites, were trusted officials, for they were responsible for the rooms and treasuries at the house of God. They would spend the night around the house of God, since it was their duty to guard it and to open the gates every morning. Some of the gatekeepers were assigned to care for the various articles used in worship. They checked them in and out to avoid any loss. Others were responsible for the furnishings, the items in the sanctuary, and the supplies, such as choice flour, wine, olive oil, frankincense, and spices. But it was the priests who blended the spices. Mattaniah, a Levite, and the oldest son of Shalom, the Korahite, was entrusted with baking the bread used in the offerings, and some members of the clan of Kohath were in charge of preparing the bread to be set on the table each Sabbath day. The musicians, all prominent Levites, lived at the temple. They were exempt from other responsibilities since they were on duty at all hours. All these men lived in Jerusalem. They were the heads of Levite families and were listed as prominent leaders in their genealogical records. King Saul's family tree. Jeiel, father of Gibeon, lived in the town of Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah, and his oldest son was named Abdon. Jeiel's other sons were Zur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Mikloth. Mikloth was the father of Shimeam. All these families lived near each other in Jerusalem. Ner was the father of Kish. Kish was the father of Saul. Saul was the father of Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. Jonathan was the father of Merib-Baal. Merib-Baal was the father of Micah. The sons of Micah were Pithon, Melech, Tariah, and Ahaz. Ahaz was the father of Jada. Jada was the father of Elameth, Azmetheth, and Zimri. Zimri was the father of Moza. Moza was the father of Bineah. Bineah's son was Rephaiah. Rephaiah's son was Eliashah. Eliashah's son was Azel. Azel had 6 sons whose names were Azrikam, Bakaru, Ishmael, Sheriah, Obadiah, and Hanan. These were the sons of Azel. My daily walk. It's been said, always treat your mother and father with respect, for without them, you might be somebody else. The chronicler spends 9 chapters showing how important it was for God's people to trace their roots and cling to their ancestral ties. Why? Because many of God's promises were made to an individual and his descendants, such as Abraham, Genesis 15, and David, 2 Samuel 7. Take away the roots and you take away the promises. For a people languishing in exile and wondering if God had forgotten them, their heritage became their hope. Do a little New Testament research to discover the rich heritage you have because of your position in the family of God. Start with Galatians 3:29, 4:7, Titus 3:7, James 2:5, and 1 Peter 1:3 and 4. Never try to make your son or daughter another you. One is enough. That's great advice. That's all for today, my friends. It was great reading along with you. Hang in there. You're doing a great job. God bless. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Lord willing, peace.